Right, hi everyone. I'm going to go through today on how to draw this. Now you can finish it off by shading it in like I have here, or I'm actually going to do another one as well where I use watercolour paints and my brush pens, ink brush pens also. So you can choose once you're doing it how you actually finish off your picture. First of all, let's go plot out the picture. So obviously you can see on the screen there, it's portrait. And we're working on a grid of from the center out to your right, 10 centimeters, 10 dots, 1 centimeter apart, sorry, back to center, out to your left, 10 dots, 1 centimeter apart, back to center, up, 9 dots, 1 centimeter apart, back to center, and down 12 dots, 1 centimeter apart. And that'll be the grid that we're working from. Once you've got that, we're going to start off with the head. So we're going to start off and create his head, and then we're going to go down and put his legs and everything on. So first of all, we're going to create this box here. So you're going to come across from the center to the left 7 centimeters, and you're going to go up 4 and draw your line across, as you can see on the screen there, and all the way across to the right to this other 7 centimeter marker and come down. Now you should have yourself a little box like that on the screen, and highlight both 3 centimeter markers on your line there and 7 centimeter marker up here. We're going to be working on those, as you will see in a second. So we've just drawn this on this box here. So that'll be your kind of grid to draw up. You're going to come off the 3 centimeter marker and go through those 2 corners here, that corner there, that corner up, mine's just slightly above the 7 centimeter, as you can see, comes around and down. So you're going to create that nice oval shape. We're going to start to put his head in. So this is the oval that we're working on here. Once you've got that in, you're going to put in another box. We're going to start to create the top of his head. So from the 3 centimeter markers that you've both stopped there and stopped there, you're going to go up to the 6 centimeter marker and draw yourself a box, as you can see on the screen there. And then on top of that box, you're going to draw almost like an upside down smile on it. And that's the top of his head. So if you just draw that on there, a nice curve on there. When you've done that, you're going to draw yourself a line across the box at the 4 centimeter marker. And on that 4 centimeter marker, you're going to go to the right 1.5 centimeters, back to center, and out to the left 1.5 centimeters, and mark a little point on both of those. Then come down to the original measurement line that we were doing before, and you're going to go out 2.5 to the left, and do yourself a marker, back to center, and 2.5 to the right, do yourself a marker. And then from those 2 points that we've just added on, the 1.5 and the 2.5, just do yourself a little curved line, as you can see on there. And what we're doing, we're starting to create his face. Okay, so once you've got that on, we've done the red bits already. From this point that we've already drawn, just go out another centimeter and draw yourself a dot. On the top of that one there, go out to the right 1 centimeter and draw yourself a marker. Now you're going to go up to the 5 centimeter line here and just draw yourself a line across there. And then from the center line here, marker here, you're going to go out to the right 2 centimeters, draw yourself a dot, back to center, out to the left 2 centimeters and draw yourself a dot. So you'll have this dot here, this dot here, this dot here, and this dot here. And they're the ones that we're going to be working on. As you see, we're going to create this curve. So from the top here, curve it around from that dot there. And you're going to join it up with the line that we've already created. Now this is the 2 centimeter line, so you can see where that lays, and there, the same on the other side. So you should have that all laid out. Okay, and then we're going to pop some lines in. So you would have had this line here. We've done that little marker on there. There's been this line here. So you're going to come, you've drawn the red bits on already. So you're going to come off that line and just create the start of his face and put his little eyes in. So this is now he's starting to create his ears. So you would have had that marker in, and you're just going to take that line out there, which is what this one is here. And the same with that one there. Just take that out, then pop his eyes in. Do them slightly smaller than I have on there, and you can make them bigger in a little bit. I just wanted you to see where they go. So I've done a little bit bigger. And then you'll see the start of his trunk, which comes down. That's the that's a 3 centimeter marker. So it's almost like just above, just below that. You can start his trunk and bring that down through the 1.5. That's 1/2. That's 1/2. Bring that line down, and then you're going to carry on and do his trunk further down. Now you can see the oval that we first created. Just going to put his ears on now. So make them, they'll go beyond the oval that we first created, and you create your elephant how you like, and do some nice ears. And you'll see it from the picture. You'll be able to print that off and use that as a guide when you're working. I said that comes down to the 1.5 centimeters. So just start at the top of the trunk, and you can rub out that red line. You don't need it anymore. You should have something that looks similar to that. We'll just pop on some light lines for his wrinkly bits and his eyes, and you can do a little texture on his head there. Now you're going to start the trunk, and when you do lines, as we've discussed before, lines do actually give you the kind of roundness of something. So we're going to do this kind of roundness of the trunk here, and as they go further and further down his trunk, they get closer and closer together. So we're just going to pop that on. So we're going to start off at the top here, because obviously we don't have the rest of the trunk at the moment, so we're going to put that on first. So just give him some texture up there, and we can bring his trunk in. There you go. Now his trunk goes all the way down to the final marker I gave you, which was a 12 centimeter marker. And the light is coming from the left-hand side on this picture. So the right-hand side of his trunk here will be slightly darker. So you can do more, if you see on the original picture, my black marker pen is more prominent on the left-hand side of his trunk there. So pop his trunk on, as you can see in there, and then his little end of his trunk is something that goes like that. Let me just colour that in black, like so. Once you've got that on, I'm going to put his tusks on. Now, I've had this point here, it's got nothing in it. It will be this point here, this point here. So this is where the area you're going to put his tusks in. And I want you to make sure when you do this, it's going to come down, and that bit there, and the tusk is going to be inside. So you need this little area here, so it looks like it goes inside. Now you can do your tusks big, small, whatever you like, round the other way, however you like. It's your elephant in the end. So you decide how you want to do him. And finish him off like that. So put his tusks on, either small or big. Obviously, if they're big, they'll go over the trunk, and that's your decision how you want to do that. Once done that, we're going to put his leg on. So we're going to get his leg on, and that's going to work on. I'm going to put this one down here, and then I'm obviously going to put the other one there. So you've got the 2 centimeter marker and the midpoint where they cross. Both of those markers we originally drew on crossed. What I want you to do is I want you to come down out to the 3 centimeter marker and draw yourself a line down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, 3 centimeter marker, and draw yourself a point at the. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.5. So it's slightly shorter than the end of its trunk. So that's 2, oh, sorry, it's 2.5. 2.5 marker here by 11.5. The point over to the 5.5 and then 11.5 and draw yourself a point. And then you're going to take that from the 2.5 up to the center. Draw yourself a line, and from the 5.5 up to the 2 centimetre mark. And you should have something that looks like that. And inside that area, you're going to pop his leg on, like so. So just have a look at the screen there and put his leg on inside that. So he's starting to get a leg. I'm going to put his bottom on now. So we're going to come through at the, you're going to go through here at the 8 centimetre marker here. So that's from the centre out to 8. And this comes in at the 4. So your 4 centimetre marker, you're going to swing it around, a nice round bottom, all the way through the 8 and up, and just join his ear up there. So it's a nice round body on there. And we put his legs on. We'll create lots of boxes, which will come clear in a moment. So from the centre, go out to your 3 centimetre marker, draw yourself a line down at 11.5. All the legs are going to work off that 11.5 centimetre line. And then cut out 1.5 centimetres this way to the right. So that's 3, 4.5. And draw yourself a line down. And then you're going to go all the way along to the 10. I don't think we had a 10, so you need to add that on because I need to see my notes on there. And draw yourself a line, and you should have all these lines coming down. Then I'm going to draw some legs on. So we had this line, these 3 lines going down. So basically we're going to draw a line, and create that box there. That's his first leg. You've already done the red line and his belly. And then from the 4.5 marker, just draw a line down from the 4.5 and just draw yourself a point on your belly and go out at that angle to the 11.5. Just try and do this back leg here slightly shorter than these 2 front legs, because obviously these 2 are the ones at the front and that one is there. So that one, and he's slightly behind here. We're actually doing that one. So at the moment we're drawing this leg on and that leg, and then that's the one that is behind. And then you're going to take the corner of that box you drew. You're going to take your ruler all the way up to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 centimetre marker. And draw yourself. And you should have a similar shape to that on the screen. Once you have, you can see the red mark, the red felt tip. That is the boxes you've just drawn. And then inside that and outside, as you can see there, I'd like you to put your back legs on. So that will swing all the way out from that marker here, all the way around and down, and do his little foot. And it'll come out of the box. It follows up the line that we drew, and it comes around, and it needs to kind of be nice and round with his little belly that you drew. And then you need to stop here for his leg here, because we've got to pop in his front leg in this area here. So that's, we haven't done that yet. So just leave an area here free. So make sure this leg here doesn't come across into this area. And you can see it's slightly shorter than the other 2, which is what we want. So these 2 are similar and that one's slightly shorter. So just make sure that is the case. And then once you've done that, you can see where the boxes were. This is a box and that finished there. We drew this red box on already. So just pop in, as you can see on the screen there, his leg, we've got the measurements. It comes up here, comes through, and it sits in that little gap there. And he sits almost the same. He's probably the one that's the furthest down. He'll come down to the 12 in line with the trunk. He's the nearest one. It's basically the one that holds the elephant in place. And just give him some little markers on his legs, a bit of texture on his legs. Once you've done that, you should have something similar to that with the elephant, and you can give him a little horizon line where you like. You decide. It can be higher, lower. He needs a little tail on there. Just a tiny little tail that flicks off to the side. And you put a tree on, wiggle a tree on. And then we can always put some texture on the leaves with our pencil. A bit of grass, a bit of squiggle, make him, put him in some kind of scenery, basically. This one here, I used pencil colour in, which I will do in a minute. But this one I'm actually going to use. So I'm going to use my brush pens for this one. I might use a bit of watercolour to do the background. So I'm going to, what colour is that? Grey. I'll put some grey. So the lights on this picture is coming from this side. So I'm just going to focus that a bit better for you. So let's choose some colours. So I've got some light greys. The elephant, whatever colour you wish. I might add a bit of blue in there to add a bit of different shades of. So I'm going to use some different shades of grey. Often they roll around in a bit of rusty dirt. It's kind of an orange colour. So I might add a bit of orange in there as well. Got the brush pen full of water, which I will use to blend that in. I always go light first with these, as you do with all colours. A little bit of light grey. So I'm just going to put some. This is a light grey underneath there, and I'll build that up as I need to. And if you're using watercolour paper, just make sure you just press really lightly. It doesn't need much. These ink pens will bleed into the rest of it. So if you're unsure, don't go right up to the edge. Just leave it a little bit. I have got watercolour paper here, so we'll see what happens. I'm just creating the dark because obviously the head is in front, and so I'm trying to give a bit of 3D effect by wherever something is behind something. I'll add a bit of grey on there, a bit of grey under there. That's under his belly. Pop out that tusk a little bit. A little bit darker grey. This side, because this side's in the shade. So we can put it on his face. A little bit dark in there. Just work with the colours you've chosen. You don't have to choose greys. You can choose oranges, whatever colours you feel. Right, so I'm going to blend these out a little bit now. So we need to squeeze this, get this far up. Needs water in it. You need to squeeze that. Get some water coming out of it, and start to charge brush pens. Get them working. There we go. They need water. Start firing them up. So. I'm just sort of blend them in, get a bit of colour on the paper. Like watercolours, you just got to get some colour on there and then start to decide where your lights and darks are and get in some colour. You can add colour. and it will just bleed into the paper like so. And you can add different colours. Spruce it up. So that's a start. So you can go back in with your Uniball later and define stuff as well. It's never a single process. Anything you do with art, you sometimes can leave it a day and go back and add something you've seen that you don't quite like, or take something out you don't quite like. Process of art. Let's just put this one on here. This is nice and dark. Add that in under there. Go in. It's like a browny colour. So, and you've even got these little trunk lines that you can highlight with your brush pen. Same with your watercolour brushes. You've got that ability to use the nice small ones to get. I mean, it just depends how you want to paint your picture. If you want to go lots of detail or not, it's really up to you. In the end, I mean, you can take this and just change it. You don't have to do it like I'm doing it. Just blend that one in. So, it's dark side there. So remember the light's coming from the left-hand side. So looking at this side, I want a little bit darker. I'll keep that darker on that side. And under there, that's the furthest away. Always add a bit of colour in a minute. I won't do it at the moment because I don't want it to bleed into there. Yeah, so I might add under here. Let's get this bit of colour going. This is quite a light colour. Go around here. Just define his ears a little bit. Around there. We can afford to go a little bit darker on this side, so we can add a little bit more colour, like so. Actually, that's an orange. Right. A bit of yellow, I think. Just like the African dust. I do like these brush pens. They are very vibrant. They're not soft whatsoever. If you want the colours, you'll need to use your watercolours. These are quite bright, but you get beautiful colours. So now I'm just sort of filling in the colours. That will bleed in a minute. I'm just going to just get some colour going on with that. I'm going to get that leg dark because he's in the background. And so let's get this trunk going. Dark down there. Dark there. Really dark there. Dark down his leg there. Put like twos. Just putting on, working through the colours, building up the shades of darkness. I'm not going too dark to start with. You can add dark, just don't add it too soon, because you will lose the picture. You can get the dark back. So I'm just thinking where the light's coming when I'm adding this colours. That's what's going through my head. Yeah, it's dark that side. As you can probably tell, it's more darker this side, on the right side. And clean that a little bit more. Get that all blended in. There you go. You do have to clean these like you would your paintbrushes, otherwise you drag the same colour. You do watercolours, you still have to clean it. You just squeeze the bezel, let the water drip out of it, and it'll clean it. Really. It's made to kind of be used on the move, really. Yeah, look at that. I'm liking that. He's quite happy. Dark side. That's not something that's stone. Okay. So that's taking ink and spreading it about now. And give it some water to work with. You've got mixed media paper, you won't have to work so hard. It's harder on watercolour paper, it requires a little bit more washing, because obviously watercolour paper is a bit more tolerant of the water. Hey, this is very bright. There you go. Try, so we've got that going on under there. Dark bits. And tidy up. Okay, it's starting to come about, so we know that's a pencil version, that's the ink version, which I'm still working on. Just build that up slowly. Let's let that dry for a second. So let them dry a little bit. I'm going to go back in with my pen and just darken up and give a little bit of texture. The shadowy bits, little wrinkly skin. If you've got one of those 005 pens, get one of those. They're quite good for getting in quite close. There, little dark bits. Add that little finite detail. And obviously just remember the light's coming from the left on this picture. So just darken up that side. Darken up the side of the trunk. You can use, this is my Uniball Eye Micro. These a lot thicker, as you can see on there. Just depends what look and what pens you've got. If you've got those smaller ones, I tend to do a bit more sporadically with these, a bit more thicker ones. My 005. So my lines have just disappeared into my colour a little bit more. I just want a bit more texture on the trunk. There, I'm going to create a little bit more on these little toes, not to lose those. just sort of punch out the bits that you want to keep. Tidy up things. I've left the little whites of his eyes on that one. You can colour them in, play around. You've got recordings, so you can do a few of them. Different kind of effects. See what one you want. Like, I sometimes do that with the drawing. I'll do it, and I'll try a different way and see what colours I prefer. This is the one where he's been rolling around in the African dust to keep cool, which is what they do. Oh, he hasn't need to highlight his tail. Need a bit of felt tip on his brush pen on his tail. So just finding his toenails and grounding them a little bit. His feet. Make sure he's got some feet on the floor there. Just going to put in some a little bit of orange on his tail. There's my water pen. Half line out. And that. Blend it all in. Now, you can obviously do it. It depends what look you're going for. I like the kind of very quite loose look, but with these brush pens, you can go very tidy. Just depends what you want, really. It's your picture, your decision on how you would like to finish it off. I'll just give you some ideas on what I like. I'm just adding a bit of colour and I'm blending it in and changing that. Right, so let's give him, he doesn't have really no background, so I'm just going to give some grass and there's a tree going on there. Oh my gosh, he is. So, I'm going to use my watercolours. Get to my watercolours now. I've got my water here. I'm going to do let's just see what happens. Wet. This is watercolour paper I'm using anyway. It's a bit more, it will create all this watery effect. If you're using the brush pens, you do need to be careful they do not bleed. Mixed media paper is easy to manage in that respect. Blue paint. Right. Right. So now I'm just putting water on paper. I'm just going to pick up like that. And reach the sky a little bit better. There we go. Up to the edge of the elephant. There we go. So I'm just wetting it at the moment. The sky. I think I'm going to put some yellow and blue. Go into my cadmium yellow. And just got some of that. So this is wet and wet. Wet paint into wet water on the page. And then I'm going to go in with phthalo blue. Push it into it. It's just watercolour paint, but it just bleeds. They just bleed into each other. So just put some more phthalo blue on. Okay, the sky. And you don't have to use this. You can just use blue and make some clouds with your kitchen roll. You've done that before on some of the artwork. Just let it bleed. Let's put it wait to see if we need to do anything. So just turn it around. You can tip it. See it bleeds into each other if you tip it. There you go. See what happens if we do that. Just tipping it and letting it run. That gives quite a nice little effect. Look. There you go. You can see how shiny it is. They just lay it flat. Move that light a little bit. See what happens. Blue around here. Right, let's take some of that blue down, around. It's in between his legs. I'll just move it around. And the tree you can just add on. Just put some branches, some colour, burnt umber. That bit better. Because it's a bit wet, it will just bleed into the paint. So I've got burnt sienna and burnt umber. Remember it's Africa, so they're kind of rusty. What's going on? And that same with the. It's really faded. It doesn't need to be too bright. It's in the distance. And the distance should be not as bright as the foreground. The focus is on the elephant, or should be. Just open that sky out a little bit more. There's water on it. And I'll bleed out. I want it to kind of fade and tip it a little bit. Yeah, it's better. So I'm tipping it now that way. So it's going towards the top of the sky, tipping it sideways. It will run. Just got to tip it on an angle. So I'm just tipping it till I get the effect I want. Yes. Better. And also just need to give it some foreground colour to sit on. So I will use my yellow ochre is very African with a bit of burnt sienna, sort of orangey colours. And on there you can probably put, so you need to just fade it off into the distance. Obviously, foreground over foreground's dark, and then it goes lighter as it disappears off. Put some colour on there. You can even put, believe it or not, you can actually even pump some salt in there and see what happens. I'm going to do that on this one because we haven't done it on an African picture. I'm going to use my, what I want is it, I want it dark under his feet. That's what I'm trying to do. So I just want to get some pigment under their feet there. So I'm just dropping in burnt sienna and yellow ochre there to darken up. Burnt sienna is kind of the rusty colour, the African soil colour that's I'm after. There you go, that's better. And I should have a stick somewhere. End of a so I'll do plastic. Nice textures with that. Plastic. Grass-like. Done this on the head chop before now. And then you can drop some salt in if you want to just add all the funky things that we've done. A little bit more of the sandy effect, and that will do its thing slowly but surely. That's my painted version, but you can play with that however you like. You can do it with your watercolours, you can do it. Do the sky how you want. You can add more pens or whatever you want. And then I've got the original, I did it, sorry, in pencils. I'll just colour it in. I'll just shade it in the pencil. So you just need like a 4 BHB, whatever you've got handy. And you just shade it basically. Now I shade it by using the side of my pencil, so I'm just moving all my stuff out of the way. There we go. So I sometimes turn mine sideways. You get less harsher line, and I'm just using an HB2, it says on here, 2B. And I'll turn my page. Use the paintbrushes. And obviously it's the same thing. Where we have it dark, his ears are behind there. You just press hard up there, and then you just lightly press as you come away. In fact, I've still got it, I'm still holding it sideways. It's a bit easier to hold it sideways. You get less of a pencil mark, more of a smoother effect. You can cover larger areas. You can turn the pencil around in a moment. I want to sharpen it up, so that's it. And then I want to make it a little bit sharper. So now I've also got the pencil how we would normally hold it, just to tighten up those areas. And then I'll turn it sideways again because I want to cover a larger area. So I'm going to come down here, and under here, dark, and just press hard. And then if you want to lighten the shade, you just lighten the pressure on the pencil. So all down here, light. Remember the light was coming from the left, so this side of his leg will be dark, and as you go over to the right, lighten the pressure on the pencil. Up we go. Under here is dark. This is the back leg, so it's very dark. It just stays dark down there. And then we've got this leg here. Down that side, the right hand side, it's dark. This light's coming from the left, so just start to build it up. You can go back and add slightly pressure as I get over to the left. That's behind, so that needs to be dark. So I'm pressing harder on my pencil. Punches it out a bit. There you go. So I'll get rid of that line in a minute. Just fade that out. Turn my page. So I want to come down this side of the leg. So dark down that side. As you move over to the right, just lighten pressure on the pencil. Like so. And then I'm going to have that start down there. That's further back. There. The same as we did with the painting, same principles. That's his ear that goes behind there. So that's darker. Just lightly pressure. You can go back and make it darker. Get some shade on there to start with, and then build it up and make it darker. Just cover the whole elephant. So that flap that goes underneath, so that's dark, and that's dark. Then you want to punch out the fact that that ear goes behind his forehead. And remember the left-hand side of the face is a bit darker than the right, because the light's coming from the left on this picture. And you can change the light, just remember it needs to go the other way around. So his trunk on the right is dark. And just go down, and then as I get towards the middle of the trunk, the light and pressure on the pencil. And then I want to define the difference between the trunk. So I will make that a little bit darker with my pencil there. Define that a little bit more. So the trunk and the leg don't blend in with each other. And then we're going to ground him. He needs to be grounded because he's just blowing at the moment. So I'm going to speak like we do with the paint. Make that dark. So floating in the air. Remember the light's coming from that way. So that'll go down. Shadow will go like that. And go out that way. It'll fade out to the right like that. And you can add some leaves on the tree. I've got it sideways, the pencil still sideways. Work quite quickly when it's sideways. And then you do, I just did squiggles. You don't have to do squiggles if you don't like the squiggles. It's your choice. That's about it, really. I don't think he needs, they're just there. His legs in front. Just make that out. And you can add a bit more. Want to define the side of his trunk a little bit more with pen. You can go in, back in with your pen and just gently go and add, make it a little bit darker and choose areas you need to just make a little bit darker. Maybe up the side of his face here. That's darker than this side. You can just be a bit more. Like that. No, that's it. You can add in birds if you want. The sky, whatever you like. So we've got the two. So you have basically one like that in the same drawing. So you can get both in the shop room. One like that. Or one like that. Your choice. Play around and let me know how you get on. Thank you for watching. If you are not in Virtual Art Club, send this to me on 0759 0318. I'd love to see what you've been doing. Thank you for watching.